All right, we're live. Clem's about to join me in a moment. Doesn't matter. He doesn't need to come even if he doesn't want to. There's nothing more to say here. This is a full-blown Cuncel event. If you want to Cuncel, I've said it 5 times in the last couple weeks. If you wanted to Cuncel, go right ahead. I wouldn't begrudge you. I don't think I've seen back-to-back runs from back-to-back hit by pitch. That might be new on my bingo card. And when you're 38 years into your life and the Mets are still finding ways, inventing new ways to crush and ruin you, it starts to get a little bit, it starts to wear thin. And on a game where a bunch of fucking no-name bums, literally no-name bums who shouldn't even be a part of this team, let alone pitching meaningful innings in meaningful games. They shouldn't even be in the game. When a bunch of meaningless, when a bunch of fucking no-name bums and a rookie makes an error after another starter can only go 4, and your manager just puts in the worst fucking pitchers in the world after, once again, your offense does what it needed to do. When you put up 5 runs on Zach Wheeler and Lindor and Alonso hit bombs and everybody else can do their fucking job except the goddamn guys who can throw the fucking ball, I don't even know how to do the podcast anymore, because what the fuck are we going to say for the next 80 games? It's the same shit over the fucking over. It's like I don't think I've ever seen this bad of pitching when in a year that we were supposed to contend. In the dark days, it's like fucking whatever. You know, we had the worst pitching imaginable. But in a season that was like, are we going to maybe win the division? And we certainly thought we were going to the playoffs. This pitching, you know, the team ERA is probably approaching 6. And you've got starters who can't even sniff the 5th. And then you've got relievers who are literally nobodies, like fucking nobody, pitching for a team that had 100 wins last year. And we got 4 guys, 4 runs on 1 hit with back-to-back hit by pitch with the bases loaded. Clem, has that ever happened in our 40 years as Mets fans? Have you seen that? Yeah, because we all, but I think that might be a new one to check off the list. That hit by pitch runs coming in to give them the fucking lead.
I want to say it hasn't. I honestly think we might have lost a game on back-to-back hit by pitches. That's fucking crazy it sounds.
Well, we just technically did here, but yes.
Yeah.
Like you're probably right. Yeah, at some point in this fucking multiverse, we've seen it all. But that one, I was like, I texted you guys. I said, I think it's going to be a walk. He's going to walk in the run, and then it'll be a bases clearing double. And it almost was. It was almost a fucking grand slam. By the way, whoever that cameraman should be fired, because I thought that ball was like right to fucking, right to the second deck. But that's a new one, That's a new one. Back-to-back base hit by pitch with bases loaded. They don't even need, They don't even need to put the ball in fucking play. I don't know what Brett Brady. What was that? What was that? At first, I thought that maybe McNeil didn't do his job and he was nowhere to be seen. And then you look at the replay and he's right fucking there. And then they challenge that. I guess it's like, well, who knows? Maybe the umps will just have a fucking aneurysm. But that wasn't even close. And I understand that when you have another 4-inning starter, that you just can't continue to drive these guys into the ground. And for all we know, maybe those guys go into Buck, maybe Ottavino and Robertson and the good relievers go in there and say, Buck, dude, my arm is falling off. Like, I want to be there for you, but I can't keep up with this pace. For all we know, they're having conversations that are like, we can't do this. But that being said, when it goes from Walker to Brigham to fucking Middleton.
Yeah, you're bringing a guy wearing 91, hoping he could do the job at the bullpen. How's that going to go?
Come on. And I also know that baseball is a sport where you can't get too high and you can't get too low, and almost being over-emotional. Being emotional is over-emotional, and that's a bad thing. And you can't treat like Phillies any more important than you can treat other teams. But like, it's in your division. It's a game you had in your hand where your studs at the plate did what they needed to do. You beat an ex-Met who was a great pitcher. You would have won a series. You put it like you get a little bit of momentum. Like that was a game that there needed to be some urgency. And we threw Vinny Nittoloni and Dominic Leone again and Brigham and Walker. And it's like, who the fuck are these guys? Like when you look at what we had last year and now you look at the box score for a game like today, it's like, who the fuck is this team even? And I this one I'm putting on Buck a little bit. I understand for the most part, you really can't because it's a domino effect that leads all the way back to bad starting pitching. But, I don't know. Ronnie and Keith were talking about how Brigham showed he had enough metal in the moment.
He had two guys. They were just trying to be nice.
What do you threw a strike and they were like, "Ooh, he's got the guts. He's showing it." Like what? No, that was a fucking catastrophic inning. And yes, I know he got fucked by an error, but also not even close to getting out of it. And so no, these guys are not big leaguers. They're not. It's just I honestly this is probably the fourth time now that I would have Cunceled. But yet again, I find it hard to Cuncel on a day where we put up 6 runs in a Zach Wheeler start. Like when Lindor and Pete both homer and you're doing the part that we suck at usually, we're fucking beating great teams and beating great pitchers with our bats. If they can just get bad pitching instead of catastrophic pitching, we'd be okay. And any other season, if there was no double wild card and we weren't scoring the runs we are, this would have been long Cunceled. It probably still should be a Cuncel, and I'm probably saying it now. There's usually a retroactive Cuncel in my mind where I'll wait it out just because I have hope, but this probably will be the moment for me. We've said rock bottom 3 episodes in a row, but I really think this was it. I mean, you could hear it in Gary's voice. You could feel it if you were watching against the Phillies. This is going to be the retroactive Cuncel if they can't put it together. But with the double wild card and the offense, it's like, I don't know, if we can just not give up 7.
Yeah, if you'd be better than 13-12 when you score 6 runs, I mean, yeah, that says it all.
13-12.
That stat gets updated every episode too. It's
every time.
Because they keep scoring 6 runs.
It's crazy.
It's almost I'm so fucked in the head. Part of me is excited that stat gets updated every game because it means we're scoring a ton of runs. It's when you're asking a team to not give up 7. And I don't care what these guys say. You got a lot of consummate professionals in the locker room on that lineup, and they're all going to say the right stuff. But they've got to be motherfucking this pitching staff when they get together. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do here?
I mean, I gave you guys this. I tweeted out after Friday night. You're like, they'll probably win the next day. Max will probably have some vintage outing. I didn't think it was, but it was 6 innings, 2 runs. And they'll probably score 5 runs off Wheeler, knock him out after 5 innings. They got 5 runs in 5 1/3, and they'll probably lose that game somehow. And lo and behold.
But so I texted Clem on the side out of the group, Meek, and I said, I'm going to need my sponsor on this one. And I don't even know. What do the people say? Like, I'm emotionally unavailable for that. I don't know if you have the bandwidth to be my sponsor right now, Clem. But when Max does put up a good enough start, and then 8 out of 9 innings today, we score enough runs against a team in our division and against Wheeler, and we had the series, the runs against the Braves and the Astros. Like, is there enough to hold out any hope, or am I just being
I mean, yeah, they can go on a magic run and win 11 of 13 and be right back in it, or they'll just have 3-4, 2-5, and fall further down. I mean,
it's like when you see the A's. What did the A's have? A 7-game winning streak earlier this season?
5.
5. Okay, 5. So you're just like every team. It's like the NBA. Everyone makes their run, but at this point, there was not a point today where I was just like, "Oh, we're in a good place right now. We're good. Yeah. Everything's gonna be fine." It was at the point where I was like, we took Cookie out a little early, I thought, and
that was a smart move
in my brain for even thinking that, right?
That was a brilliant move to take Cookie out after 4 innings, and he probably should have been taken out after 3.
3 innings, yeah. And Trey Turner, who was motherfucking him all day, and then that was amazing. Trey Turner just stole the run. Like, it's just like you lose You lose the game in the 8th, but you also lose it in the 5th or whatever it was.
Yep.
It's an absolute fucking joke, man. You can never feel safe. You don't feel safe with the starters. And then if the bullpen is taxed like it's been, you just don't feel safe. And now, so I saw that Ottavino and Raley were both unavailable today. Do we throw Robertson in the 8th when instead of the gasoline gang?
That's what I mean. Like when if it was those two unavailable and you throw somebody with, a chance, like we're talking about 91, like Meat said, we're talking about guys like coming out of like the spring training squad, in February. We're talking about guys who are there for human sacrifices and for mop-up games. Where Nittoloni should be pitching the 24-0 game in Colorado type shit, not 6-3 in the 8th against the Phillies or 6-4, 6-5 when you come in and try to hold the. He actually did his job. I shouldn't be singling him out because he was the best one of the day. But Brigham and Walker and these guys are, it's not like our A guys run available. So we went with the next level down. We're throwing the D squad.
Well, again, these are the kind of games where they won last year, even when they did do that. Like they got two.
And I, you know what? When I saw Pete get on base, I was like, who knows? Like that happened the other day. What was it? A couple weeks ago, maybe. Like they ended up winning it anyway. I think, I don't know, but I'm like, maybe we win this game and this just gets erased. Because the Phillies are also sometimes the Phillies pull a Met and the Mets pull a Phillies. But when they don't, and then it just goes in the books as a catastrophic loss. I just thought after last year, I mean, I've said it a million times. I thought we were going to regress. I thought it was going to be harder. I knew it was, but I didn't know it was going to be this hard. And I definitely didn't think that I'd be watching Josh Walker and Brigham and Leon and guys who you just, I would like kill for the days of the Puerto Rican Seth Lugo back. I would suck a dick for Aaron Loop. I would love, even the scrub guys to get back. Give me Yohan Lopez and the bad guys back.
You could retroactively call this a Diaz game because then we'd have Robertson for the 8th inning because Diaz would pitch ninth.
And that's where we haven't talked much about it because Diaz, probably wouldn't even be in any, half of these games because the starting pitching has been so bad. But Diaz games are more than just like you blew it in the 9th. That's a perfect example. If those two were unavailable, you still would have had Robertson and Diaz, and you probably would have closed this door 6-3, bingo, bango, no problem.
At the very least, you wouldn't have walked in a run, hit two guys to get in those 2 runs. At the very least, we can agree that would not have happened, right?
Like, and Ronnie, I think said, like, you got to trust your glove, your defense at some point. Like, I don't even think they could if they wanted to. He couldn't get the fucking ball over the plate. And
they can't trust their defense because the ball just goes over the fence.
Right. And by the way, he did that a couple pitches earlier and got the ground ball, and his defense fucked him in the ass. Yeah. So that's what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass, Donnie. Like, he did it. And Brett Beatty, RIP to my man Esco. We haven't done an episode since he got traded. I sent him a DM and I said thank you, and he wrote back and said thank you as well. Esco's always going to have a soft spot in my heart. I know a lot of people soured on him, and I know it didn't really go well, but we'll always have September, and we'll always have last year. And at the end of the day, he was a great dude and would have made that play in his fucking sleep. So as much as I love playing the new kids, this is part of it. Everybody clamors for play the kids, and you finally get your wish. And part of that is a tailor-made double play that you just throw away. So get ready. You better be happy with you got to go through these growing pains. And I don't want to hear you crying about it because you were screaming at Buck and screaming at.
Or like yesterday when Danny Mendick's in the lineup and playing third base. Apparently, we won that game. I don't know. Maybe fucking play him more. Fucking just play the winning players. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, at this point, there should be no allegiance to anybody. But I don't know. I didn't really watch. We jumped right into this. Did anybody see any or read any post game quotes yet? Like Buck is.
Buck's under fire.
You know what? Maybe this is my theory from last episode of you got to let these starters burn in hell. Just let them stay out there because you have to pitch 6. maybe this was his way of being like, no, I'm giving these guys a rest. Fuck you guys. Like they because again, you don't know what it is like in the clubhouse. Maybe these guys, 2 weeks ago said, hey, at this pace, we're going to be fucked. And they already, in a game like that, you like to say to yourself, like, those guys should go to Buck and be like, no, dude, like, give me the ball. I can win it for the team today. Maybe that's already happened and we don't even know it, like, for the last month, And maybe eventually Buck says, no, we're throwing the scrubs out there because, you guys, you think you can go 4 innings and get away with this? Fuck you. No, this one's on you. But I'm sure he'll just go out there and say, well, we thought that Brigham, we know he's a competitor and we know he can make pitches and he just didn't today. And blah, 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 blah.
I heard what Buck. This is what Buck had to say. This is what Buck said. He goes, everyone thinks about the day they'll eventually get to retire and enjoy all the freedom that comes with it. Buck's 1,000 years old. He's thinking about retirement. But who says you have to wait to be 1,000 years old to retire, Buck? To do that, all you do, take advantage of that free will and spend the summer chilling like a retiree right now, Buck. You don't have to throw 91s in the game to just feel like you don't give a fuck anymore and retire. You can just get yourself a nice cold Coors Light, wait to get you the Blue Mountains, and drink the beer that's made to chill. It pairs well with a retired state of mind, which, to be honest, starting to feel like Buck may have. I guess we can start throwing all the Buck retiring, doesn't care, all that kind of stuff out there. Mounds on the bottle and cans turn blue when the beer is cold, so you know it's time to grab another. Perfect for all your summer plans or lack thereof. I don't know if Buck has fall plans. Seems like Buck doesn't have any fall plans right now. We love our Coors Light. It's the only thing that gets us through these goddamn games that drive us crazy. So this summer, chill like you're retired with Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. You said about Escobar, and I mean Escobar, he was such a streaky player. When things were good, they were great. When they were bad, they were awful. He did always have like the good defense at the hot corner, which I appreciated. And watching that little man run around the bases from like second, it was like watching Super Mario when he has to start. It was incredible. It really was.
I really like, out of all the, we've had bad players, we've had scumbag players, we've had bloated contract failure players who just robbed the team. And yeah, like it didn't really work out when you really look at it at the end of the day, but like he was kind of the stopgap for Beatty, and now we got there, and like there's so many other people to really pin this on. Eddie Escobar ain't the one, man. He was always just kind of like a good guy to root for, and even when he got traded, his Instagram caption was like so nice, and he kind of was the perfect guy to trade for a couple arms, like, let's just try to get something and throw it at the wall. We got to do something. So, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, that's not the guy to blame in my mind.
I'm sure in the clubhouse they're bummed because that's like, it seems like a good guy everyone seemed to like there, right? Like Eduardo Escobar's blood is on the hands of the starting pitching because of the starting pitching.
Yes.
They have to find 2 other starters that they might be able to call up that will not shit the bed and might make it into the 5th inning at some point. So Eddie Escobar's blood is on the hands of whatever 5 guys are currently in the rotation at this time. Sounds like David Peterson is the newest member of that fucking Sinister 5.
We'll probably win tomorrow. Vintage Verlander, because he had the bad start and good start. We'll probably do for that. Then David Peterson will probably go up like 10 runs and maybe he'll make it through 6 innings on 200 pitches.
What was the number? He has an ERA of 6 in AAA, but they're still like he's our best option.
Apparently, and Jose Quintana is good enough in rehab to maybe come back after like 2 more turns. I don't know.
I was reading a thing on The Athletic.
Is he decently close? Because at this point, I mean, I thought I'd never see him, and B, I have 0 expectations for him because you gotta lengthen and stretch out and get in your groove by the time you do that, season's over. But at this point, better than anything.
I mean, he pitched 4 innings today, so I think if he goes like 5 or 6 next start, they'll probably let him come up.
That. I mean, I know there's the people who just despise Epler, and it's like we know that Bassett and Ty Walker and Trevor Williams really. If they were to have the same seasons they're having in New York, that wouldn't have gone well. And Senga was like, I think Senga was like the right move to take a chance and see what you got. And we've seen some flashes, but at the end of the day, when you have a 101 win team and then but no, because it's like he gave you he brought in a Cy Young winner and gave you, it's like, I guess everybody.
You brought in Tommy Pham, who's apparently our best hitter, I guess.
Right, everybody's got to take some of the blame, but when you replace one Cy Young winner with another, and you had to take a 101 win team, and you still give them 2 aces, and go get a Japanese young guy from Japan who's showing promise, and then you try to bolster it with Quintana, and you have an injury, some underperformance. It's like I don't know. It's hard when it's like, hey, you built a team and they have the worst ERA like in the history of the franchise, so you get blamed for it. But it's like we said, nobody was thinking this to start the season. So this is on the the blood is on the hands of the players here. But it's just like something. I said last episode, I don't really care about firing people because it's like these guys just suck. But maybe it will change things. I don't know. Max did his job, like you said. Maybe tomorrow Verlander does his, and then do people finally start to maybe they're like, hey, our studs are doing it, I can do it too, and like
they could fire whoever they want. You could fire Epler, probably have someone who's basically just like him in the front office right now, be the interim. I don't care. Cool, fire Buck Showalter, put Carlos Beltran in the dugout. Maybe you can call Mark Vientos and Beltran will teach him how to take a breaking ball over the plate like he did. And you could just and it's just change the musical chairs, and hey, you'll probably still suck. I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter.
But I guess it's getting late early, and we're many games under 500.
I think it's 9 games out of a wild card, maybe 8 back in the loss column.
35 and 42.
That's starting to get into, dangerous.
But if you just have a nice long winning streak, 7-3, maybe you cut it down to 4 or 5. But they have not done that at all.
You do this for another month, and it starts to become very bleak and borderline impossible because there's so many teams to jump. And then you do almost need to win, 11 of 13, 14 out of 17 type shit. But there still is just so much right now that I'm like, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the offense starts to score 8 and 9 runs a game instead of 6 and 7. Because at this point, we are starting to border on a prolific, formidable offensive Met team that we should be celebrating and enjoying and praising. I mean, we talked last year about how streaky and at times the team could barely muster together 3 hits. If we were constantly putting up 6, 7 runs a game, we would have been coming ourselves. And now not only are we we don't even get a chance to talk about it or enjoy a second of it because it's always overshadowed. But you know what? I want to see in those 13 wins. I also want to see how many were 6-5, and we almost blew those because I can't even remember the last time. I guess we had a big win in Houston, right? And I won in St. Louis. But there's been very few laughers on for us on the good side of things, where all that offense just was okay, we did our job tonight. So even when they do win with the offense, it still feels like you never, like you said, Clem, you never feel good. You never feel good about any inning in any game ever.
We have 9 blowout wins all season. A blowout is considered 5+. We've lost 11 games by 5+ runs. So that's your answer.
So, those games where.
Now, is it 6 or more runs, or it's 6 or more runs, right?
6 or more. So 13-12 and you score 6 or more.
So they beat the Marlins 6-2. This is first week of the season. They beat the Marlins again 9-3. They beat the A's 17-6. They beat the Dodgers 8-6. Crazy to think about. Beat the Giants 9-4. Beat the Nats 9-8. So the games that they won some were close. They won relatively handily. They beat the
9-8, 9-6. It was usually you put up 9 runs and we should have been putting our feet up and having a blast. And instead, I don't remember these games on the top of my head, but I bet you I was sitting there in the 9th inning sweating my dick off because no lead is safe. I mean, when the bases are loaded and nobody out, you're like, fuck, they're definitely going to score 1, maybe 2 here. I'm at the point where I'm like, it's 4. It's minimum 4.
Oh, I'm thinking 5.
Right, it's minimum 4, and we might be looking at an embarrassing where were you when type of inning because they're going to put up 8 or 9. It's like, I fully expected the bases to be cleared at one point, and the only reason it didn't happen is because we decided to hit people back-to-back pitches. So, like, one way or another, they're embarrassing themselves. It's not even normal baseball because, hey, you get behind in the count, you get behind in an inning, bases loaded with no out, it happens, and usually you're gonna let them score a couple, but it's like we don't ever get out of those jams anymore. Like, that was another thing last year. It used to be like, when I was hiding in the kitchen, I think I was like 10-0 when I used to hide in the kitchen. They used to always get through it, and now not only do they never get through it, we end up losing. We end up getting blown out.
The kitchen is burning, pretty much.
I'm the fucking Donald Glover meme. I'm the dog meme. It's on fire. It's so Cuncelable, and I just
and the Phillies are the only team we won a series against in the last month.
Is that true? Holy shit!
Yeah, yes. Because remember that 5-game winning streak where we swept the Guardians.
Yeah.
Like, the kids are playing. They got that one commercial they were able to use for however so many games. They've only won one series. It was versus the Phillies since then.
I guess I should pose the question: are either of you Cunceling?
I'm not Cunceling before the All-Star break. I just can't.
I can't Cuncel, but like my hope level is like close to like 0. Like
0. Yeah, I mean, I feel like All-Star break, deadline. These are these kind of natural breaking points. I had said June 15th. If I'm betting, betting man, I would say probably, I'd be very confident in my bet to say that they're not going to be a contender. But it's hard when you're looking at. I mean, we said what do we as of a couple days ago. I asked in the group chat, is this approaching? I said I feel like this is approaching their worst pitching team ever, and I think it was like third worst ERA.
Third worst behind 62 in 2017. But
So
when you actually look at
62, fucking inaugural season type shit.
No one
clown
cares about
shoes.
that.
Yeah.
Throw it out the window.
When you compare the names on this roster to 2017, this is worse.
Well, so that's what I was gonna say. You throw out 62 for obvious reasons. Look at 17, where it was like, we were.
Harvey was dying. Wheeler was fucked that year. DeGrom wasn't a god yet.
Yep.
That was DeGrom's worst season. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the pitching numbers right now. See like who pitched games for us.
That was we thought we had the 5 aces, and it was like we were limping to the realization it was never gonna ever.
Tolo was still there. Was Tolo still there?
No, he was on the Braves that year. We got DFA'd twice. Rafael Montero pitched 119 innings that year, third in innings on that team.
So that was like we that was supposed to be bad. When you look at this being Verlander, Scherzer, again, young stud from Japan, a big the big drip who, the year prior had really done some special things. And, you thought you were going in there with Diaz and Robertson and all that and all the hype and all the expectations. And to have an ERA, what is it now? Me, can you pull up latest team ERA? It's got to be like 5.5.
I usually go on the MLB app for that, so let me pull it up. I'll take a guess what exactly it is.
Yeah, I'm going to say 5.5. That is.
It's 4.65.
Okay,
which is 25 for 25th in baseball. Behind only.
It's just you can't. It's just it's unfathomable that we were going to be 25th in baseball. I knew
the teams behind them. It's the Nats who are tied with the Reds, whose prospects are actually playing well. The Royals, the Rockies, and the Vegas A's.
Yeah, I mean, the Vegas A's, the Rockies, who just gave up 1,000 runs in 4 innings.
We lost that Rockies team 4 of 6 games, by the way. So
yep,
it's there's a lot. There's going to be a lot of Mets haters being like, "Oh, who could have thought that the 2 40-year-old pitchers would break down?" But if you ask those guys, prior to the season, do you think they're going to be borderline dead last? At least dead last out of all the contending teams, for real? Of course, the scrubs are at the bottom, but would you think the Mets are going to be the worst team out of all playoff teams and contenders from last year? I don't think anybody would have said they thought that. They saw that coming. So I knew there was a chance, but never in my wildest dreams did I think they would be this bad. And I think I've said that 3 episodes in a row now. I've said that, 6 games in a row now. And I just keep feeling like, well, at some point, if you keep scoring 6 runs, you're going to win. But they don't. But they fucking don't. They don't.
We'll look back at the end of the year and be like, oh, you're 25-25 when you score 6+ runs or something.
It's really going to be a number that it's like you could have just plucked 20 more wins and added it to your record. And, instead of winning 72, you would have won 92. And that's not that far-fetched to say because, again, we're not talking about just scoring 4 or 5 runs where it's like, well, you can still lose those games when you put up 4. We're talking about 6 and 7 when it should be absolute locks. So you really could just take those from the loss column, move them over to the win column. And that's going to kill me, man. It really is. It's going to suck because it's like I still really believe the way that they did this. I think I said it on the pod, but I definitely said it in the group chat. Like, they had a long-term plan. They all of a sudden were a major contender. I think they wanted to take a shot at a title while not mortgaging any prospects and any long-term money. And they did exactly that by doing short-term, high-value contracts with old guys. And it's obviously not working. But I really do respect that game plan. It's just I thought we were going to have a shot at it, and we fucking didn't. So, and we don't. So that sucks, and it just crushes my soul.
So I suggested this to Frank on Friday night after they lost. I told Frank he has to burn his Pete Alonso World Baseball Classic jersey because since he bought that jersey, that happened. Edwin Diaz tore his patella, and everything went to shit. He said you guys have to burn something too in order for him to do that. Okay,
I was thinking about burning my hat, the new hat. I mean, that hat has been bad luck in a lot of ways. So I'll burn
I'll burn something. I don't know what I have from this season.
Maybe we should burn one of our relievers at the stake. Maybe we should have a literal. I talk all the time about a human sacrifice. Maybe we should have a literal human sacrifice. Imagine that if Buck, it like straight out of fucking Thrones with Shireen when that guy burns his daughter alive. If he just has all the starters line up and he just sets one of them on fire and says, "You did this. This is you."
They pretty much did that with Escobar. Well, I mean, he got sent to Anaheim and then they put up 24 runs, fucking inning.
Real quick, that was one of my favorite things ever. I was at a bachelor party this weekend and I was following that along on my phone. 24 runs on 21 hits in the 4th inning. And just to prove how stupid baseball is, to tie it back to the Mets, who are scoring runs like left and right and can't win a game. The fact that, the rest of that game, they only put up a few more runs and there was like several zeros on the board after that is just crazy. It's just the stupidest sport in the world.
And even better, the Angels lost the series to the Rockies.
So, it's a dumb fucking sport where you can score 21 runs in 2 innings, 13 and 8, and then go zeros for a few. It's just like, what is this game we're even playing? But we'll all try to exercise the demons. I'll burn the fucking the right wing bass fishing hat, and he can. The World Baseball Classic is to blame for all this. Anybody who doesn't see that is an absolute buffoon. So maybe we can do our part here. But God, it's just like, can we just get something? Just don't be terrible. Just be regular bad, please.
Gotta believe.
Do you though? Do you?